Welcome to the AACFB 2022 Meet the Funder webinar series. My name is Monica Harper. I'm the Executive Director of the AACFB, and I'll be your host. Our presenter today is John Boddigheimer from Centra 4-Hour Funding. 4-Hour Funding is both a funding source member and a gold sponsor of the AACFB, and I'd like to thank them for their support. Before I introduce John, I'd like to go over a few items to make this webinar more enjoyable and informative for everyone. During the presentation, you should see a Q&A box that allows you to ask questions. If you have any questions during the presentation, please submit your questions in the box, and they should be answered by the end of the webinar. Please reserve the chat box for communication between attendees. The entire webinar should take no more than 30 to 45 minutes. For those of you who would like to review this webinar at a later date, it will be posted on the 2022 Meet the Funder page of the website and will also be emailed to the AACFB membership. At this time, I will turn it over to John. It is all yours.
Thank you very much, Monica. And as always, it's always great to be with the AACFB. And do want to thank everybody for joining us. First off, I'm here to tell you, my name is John Boddigheimer. I'm here to tell you a little bit about our program. You can also go to 4hourfunding.com at any time. We do have 3 broker reps who do service the United States here for our brokers. And I will add, the unique thing about them is, unlike a lot of companies where you rarely ever see them, these guys actually do travel and actually do visit you. First off, a little bit about 4-Hour Funding. We were founded in 2008. Headquarters is in Plano, Texas. We are a direct funder. In fact, we've done securitizations. We'll be doing a new securitization coming up in the fall, hopefully. We offer EFA only at this point, and our deal sizes are from $5,000 to $200,000. One of the most important qualities, when we started 4-Hour Funding, it was started in the depths of the recession in 2008. We wanted to figure out the qualities of a perfect funder, and they are fast funding and, just as important, is consistent funding. You'll find that what loses vendors more than anything is when the funding process gets clunky or there's big lag periods in it. We try to eliminate those and get to the point where funders, when your vendors have a very good, reliable idea how fast your transaction is going to take to fund. The other thing we're known for is our very wide credit window. Unlike a lot of companies that usually do a primary focus, either an A business or AB business, we are a full spectrum lender. You're going to find that we do startups. We do A business, B business, C business. We're really I like to call us a Swiss Army knife of the equipment financing business. And why that's important is, if you have a full spectrum lender like we are, and you can offer consistent service, that's how you retain vendors. The other thing we are known for is we have a very predictable and fast approval process. We have a very easy application process to go through. Virtually, I'd say 99.9% of our transactions are application only. We have reasonable rates. We have on the low side, we're at 7% for our A paper, going all the way on up to startup business. And you'll see that program. I think we have one of the most competitive startup programs in the business. However, our rates rise up into even the 20s. You'll also find that the really unique thing about us is, because we're a full spectrum lender, we try to keep the communication window open between you and our credit staff. Unlike a lot of places where the credit analyst that you're dealing with is like this nebulous person that you can only send emails to, ours are quite open. In fact, it's quite often that we do have brokers actually call up one of our credit analysts and want to talk about a transaction. That is very unique in the business. First off, updates for 2022 for 4-Hour Funding. We did go up from 150,000 up to 200,000 app only. Our new business program was definitely muscled up in 2022. We now do some startups up to $75,000, depends on the collateral. And I think you're also going to see in the new business program, we will do some new businesses at an extremely low rates, as low as 15 yield, which is really uncommon in the new business market. API integration. We do have our own technical staff here, and it is possible for you to call us up and we can set you up for a straight API from your current system, whatever you use, into our system. What that does is it means that instead of having to enter applications, you just hit a button in your system and it would automatically flow into our system here. It's something I very much recommend. The fourth thing that's new for 2022, the Hourglass mobile app. I think we're probably the first funding company in the small ticket segment that does have a mobile application where you can follow the entire process through on your mobile phone. It's a really neat product. I know our staff here spent a long time working on it, and it has some groundbreaking features to it, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Coming up in the next probably month and a half, 2 months, we'll be announcing a working capital type program. It's going to be a program where you can tag on working capital onto an equipment transaction. And unlike most people's working capital programs, which I tend to characterize as high rate and short duration, meaning usually they're 9 to 12 months. And if you ever look at what most of them are, they're roughly 50 to 75 yield. Ours will not be that. It will be a monthly payment, and it will be amortized at basically the same rate as the equipment. So it will be a reasonable, very low rate. First off, to talk a little bit about the Hourglass mobile app. This is an app that you can download. And it's interesting in that we are not only a finance company, I call us a tech company too. We actually are an Apple publisher as well as a Android publisher. These you can find on either one of the app stores, and you can contact our IT department to find out the exact search terms if you need to, or you can go online and get information on how to do it. However, the beautiful thing about the Hourglass app is you can monitor a number of things. We do offer a monthly bonus program. As you do more and more volume, you can receive a monthly bonus at the end of the month for your additional volume. The nice thing is it keeps track of that for you. It can even keep track. We, of course, do all electronic documents. The nice thing about the Hourglass app is you can follow the online documents as it floats around the country. You'll find you can see what customers have viewed documents, what customers have signed them. You can really keep track of your entire process. The other neat thing about it is with the Hourglass app, you can actually see how busy it is here at Centra at that particular time. So the neat thing is you can log in and see how fast transactions are moving through various parts of the process. And it really is kind of groundbreaking in that regard. The other thing is you can actually use it as kind of your de facto system when you're traveling. You can send quotes to customers, and it actually puts links with applications and that they can send them back in. Even if you're traveling, those links would run right into Centra 4-Hour. We would process it for you, get you an answer. Meanwhile, you can stay on the boat, or you can be vacationing in Europe or wherever you are. The other nice thing about us is you can follow the decision times. You can even see what credit analyst may be working on your transaction at that particular time. So it's a great process for you to follow us as your transaction works its way through the 4-Hour system. Just some of the screenshots of the system. And again, like I said, it even keeps track of your vendors. If you've done work with a vendor with us before, if you've had a vendor and you've done a funding with us before, you can actually go back and check and see, okay, was he approved for pre-funding, et cetera. So it does cover all those other neat little areas like that every broker would love to have. First off, I talked a little bit about our broker reps. I think we have some of the finest broker reps out there. We have Kennedy Gilbertson, who handles our West Coast. He's oddly enough in Minnesota, but he loves to travel, and that's really good because he's usually traveling up and down the West Coast constantly. We have Alan Justman, who handles the center of the U.S., and Lainey Kobe, who handles our East Coast. So if you want, I'll let you just take a quick look at the screen. If you want to write down their email addresses, you can contact them if you want to get on with us, and we'd be glad to help you. First off, how does the Centra 4-Hour funding system work? First off, we do require that you have to apply online. You can, like I said, you can use the API app where it can download it directly from your system into ours, or you can actually go online or you can use the app now also and fill out the customer information. Credit approval, most applications go in and out of here within about 2 hours on the credit approval side. In fact, if you're ever visiting in our office, you will actually see screens everywhere where it's telling where all the various queues are and everything else. It is an incredible logistical exercise what we do here. And in any single month, we may be reviewing and executing over 2,000 credit investigations. That shows you the type of logistical exercise we have to go through. But we are constantly following it. We constantly track it. We have screens all around the office. We do take a point of pride that we try to push these transactions out quickly. As we talked earlier, we do everything electronic documents. We do not handle manual documents. That's one of the reasons why we can do things so quickly. The huge benefits to the way we work, we're one of the rare places where you can have a transaction sent out electronic documents, and they may come back at 4:15. And there's probably a better than 70% chance, even at 4:15, your transaction will fund. That's where we're unique in that regard. We try to push out our fundings extremely fast. First off, our documentation process. We are a little different than most companies. We do like that most of your contingencies are taken care of before docs go out. Again, we view that as a very important step for one reason. We found that when customers, vendors, brokers, when everybody realizes that the minute the customer signs those docs, it's going to get funded, and it's going to get funded very, very fast, you have less breakage. In fact, statistically in our system, about 88% of the time when we send out documents, those documents come back signed and this deal is funded. That's an extremely high closure rate. We do because we are sending out, we incorporate your invoice as part of the Schedule A listing the equipment. So we do require that we have a final invoice. The documents are sent to your customers via email, and the e-signature process has worked wonderful. We have not had one person really refuse to sign it. And on top of that, the few cases where every now and then you will have about 1 out of 500 people has a hard time passing the identity tests, we do have alternatives that still allow us to complete the transaction electronically at that time. One of the nice things about us is the way we kind of serve everything up for you in your approval. When you get an approval from 4-Hour Funding, you will find everything you need is right there. You're going to find your approval terms. You're going to find any conditionals that we may put on there. You're going to find we have a link where you can get any contingencies released and send it in that way. There's another link where you can go through a tutorial on how to do your documents, and then there's the actual document request link. And it's literally you go to the link and you start going down, taking care of things, dropping things over from your computer into the box, the download file. And it works pretty much like that. It shows up on our queue here in our office here, and we take care of it for you at that point. This is just a quick little breakdown of when we ask for things on your document request. We may even ask for little things such as, we'll ask always for the email address and cell phone numbers. Again, we use this information not so much to get in front of you and your customer, but more of to be able to get any questions from the customer and they directly come into here. We have a lot of customers that will text back or call back, and then we usually will forward those to the broker and we will conclude the transaction quickly. All right, now what everybody loves to hear, the application process, what our credit requirements are. You're going to find that we do new businesses, but if you're looking for our standard programs, not our new business program, we do require 2 years in business, except for Florida, where they do require 3 years in business. Our minimum credit score is 590, and I always have to put a little asterisk behind that. By 590, can a guy get 25,000 with a 590 credit bureau? Yes. We always have sometimes people like to call in and say, well, he's got a 590, can I get 150,000? That is a bigger order. It happens, but a little more occasionally. You're going to find our equipment size. We're looking for a minimum transaction of $5,000 up to $200,000. We do go up to 6-year terms. We do require that when you go beyond 5-year terms, it is harder collateral. And that is like things like tractors and bulldozers and things like that. We routinely do on 72 months. Bank statements. Right now, it's kind of a soft requirement over 50,000. There are times where we will allow that figure to rise to 75,000. So that is really more of a function of how strong the credit is. Geographical limits. We work in every state in the U.S., all 50 states. We do not work Puerto Rico and we do not work the Virgin Islands, but you will find Alaska, Hawaii, we handle those consistently. We require, I think this is a little older slide, site inspections is, again, this is another soft limit. Sometimes it's 50,000, sometimes it's 75 based upon the collateral and the type of customer we're working with. Partial restrictions. We do beauty salons, fitness club, and tanning industries. We like to see those at 3 years, but beyond that, we handle pretty much any industry in any time in business. Industry restrictions, adult entertainment, day spas. We do some day spas, but again, it's got to be stronger credits. Unfortunately, marijuana, until it's legal in all 50 states, we are not handling marijuana transactions, gaming, logging. And this is important. We don't do general logistics business. So if you're a trucker and your cargo is basically general on the U.S. Department of Transportation's listing, you will find that we won't help that type of customer. But if they're very specific, say they're somebody just deals in hay bales or rock aggregate, we will consider those. The other thing I might mention is we don't do sale leasebacks, and we do not do private party sales, other than if it's a piece of titled equipment. Our only problem with private party sales is provenance, determining who really owns the equipment. This is a general listing of the restricted equipment, things we will not consider. Really, the most important things, I think the ones that come up more often, we see a lot of requests for concrete forms and molds. I would say this, if they're very strong, we may, every now and then we do break our rules if a customer is very strong, but usually we'll stay away from a number of things we don't like coffee machines, galvanic skin response equipment. Things that are unattended equipment like kiosks and coin-op equipment we'll always stay away from. We also have a list of partially restricted equipment. These are things we do, but we're going to limit the transaction to a certain degree. Believe it or not, this is how wide open we are. We do drones. We've gotten some experience there. We even do some cryogenics equipment. You'll find that, and actually surprisingly, we found it to be not a bad market. Computer equipment, we do want to see 48 months on that. HVAC equipment. Excuse me, we do a lot of HVAC equipment, but we do require that if we're doing equipment like that, the customer owns the building. Now, this is our general credit matrix right here. Again, if you want to call in, we can get you a complete broker guide. It'll have all this information right there. But I think you'll find that our criteria is quite, I would say, not restrictive. And it allows you to have plenty of room to get your transactions done. Excuse me. Now, various programs we have. Again, we have our new business program. We'll go into this in more detail. Excuse me. 72-month financing program. It's a fantastic program. We have deferred programs. We have two types of deferral programs. We have a 90-day deferral program, as well as a 6-month deferral program. The 6-month deferral program I love. It's a really neat process. It's 2% up front, and that's 1% for the next 6 months. It's a great program. We also have a nice app only to 100 to 200K program. We also have a thin to win program, and we'll show you a little bit of that. That's where if you put less than 5 points, we'll come down and rate and we'll help you win the transaction. We even have a no prepayment penalty contract. This is a special program. You have to ask for it specifically. It's not in every contract that we do. It is basically an addendum that will allow the customer, after he's halfway through, to get out for a no prepayment payoff. We also have a medical program, which is a really popular program here. For some reason, we've become a really big funder for medical equipment. And I think the reason is doctors love our closing process. They can get on their phone, they can do it while they're walking to the car or what have you, and they close it really quick. In 20,000, at the beginning of the year, we did start a new business program. We beefed it up dramatically, increased our maximum amounts. It is different than most any other new business program in that the pricing really depends on the collateral more than anything. So if you're working with certain types of items, work class trucks, CNC machines, pizza ovens, believe it or not. So a new restaurant who's getting pizza ovens, he can get a very large amount and he can get rates that are as low as 15 yield on a brand new startup. This allows you, the broker, to really fine tune and go after certain vendors that you can have a tremendous competitive advantage over the rest of the market. Our basic rate program, like I said, our basic rates start at 8%, but if you want to go thin to win, we will drop 100 basis points off of any one of these rate tiers. So this is our basic rate program. It runs from 8% all the way on up to higher risk credits on tier 4 and 5. Again, we do 72-month financing. We like to see it for harder collateral only. But again, this can really drive the monthly payment down, and it makes it a much easier sell for you. Here's some specifics on our app-only 100 to 200K program. These type transactions can get highly individualized. You will find that even though it may not fit all these criteria, a lot of times you're dealing with a very experienced credit analyst, especially when you're working on these amounts in our system. And so you will find we will look at it. And a lot of times if we see, geez, doesn't have quite the 690 credit score, but everything else is there and he's got a pay net history and he's handled this type of amount, that's not going to stop us. We're a very flexible credit house. So we will look at the totality of the transaction, but these are general guidelines, are definitely in line with what we're looking for. When we start doing a deal over 100,000, we do like to see over 5 years in business. Again, we do make exceptions if somebody's exceptionally strong and they have very strong bank balances. We're one of those places that you can actually put on the application, hey, this customer would be willing to, I know he doesn't qualify, but he'd be willing to put 30,000 down as a first payment. We will listen to that very carefully and we will be very interested. We do handle title vehicles. We can, the way we work it is we do use a third-party titling company for our title vehicles. We can handle transactions where the vendor does titling or the vendor doesn't do titling. This is one of the more popular features of our program. We offer very good rates going from as low as 7% on up. But when you factor in our monthly bonus program, which I think is one of the more generous in the industry, you're going to find that our rates are actually very, very good. And that is that over $125,000 in funding in a single month gets you 1% of that month fundings as a bonus check going back to you. And over 200,000 gets you 2%. And the unique thing about this is not a long-term where, gee, I got to fund 10 million this year. It's not that. Instead, it's like I'm on a short run. I've got one transaction in here. If I do one more deal, I get a bonus. You're always in the game with this bonus program. And other than that, we do want to tell you that we will be in the AACFB conference in Vegas. We look very much forward to seeing everybody there. Usually we try to have dinners and what have you, but I think it's going to be a much more abbreviated schedule this year. But for those of you that have come with us before, we always love seeing everybody. Other than that, our basic information, you can go to 4hourfunding.com/become-AACFB. a-broker, and you can get more information, or you can contact either one of these three people. You can email them, they will set you up right away. Our process to get set up. Oh, by the way, we do also offer discounting. We do have a discounting program. It does do it private label in your name. You don't need a DocuSign account with our discounting program, because with our discounting program, you're working within our DocuSign account. So you don't have the expensive addition of having to buy a DocuSign account, an eOriginal account. Some of these things can cost $50,000 by the time you get done. With us, you basically get it for free. I'll push that over to Monica, and you can tell me if you have any questions from our audience.
Yep, we have one question, and I'll just remind everybody, if you want to ask a question, just type your question in the Q&A box, or you can use the raise hand feature, and I will unmute you so you can speak. First question, how do you view food services, restaurants, mobile food trucks? Any additional restrictions?
I would say as funders go, we probably have more experience in the food truck business than just about anybody else. We fund a reasonable amount of it. We also do a lot of restaurant paper. We are unique in that I think our biggest industry segment is only like 6% of our portfolio. However, we have pretty good understanding of virtually every industry because our new business program is so widely used by the industry right now. We have a large number of transactions that are restaurant paper, and we have no problem with it whatsoever.
Do you do dump trucks, hook lifts, and bins?
We do dump trucks. Again, dump trucks fall in the category that is not a general logistics. So yes, we do dump trucks.
I don't know, are hook lifts and bins different than dump trucks?
Yeah, we do bins. This is more in the refuse business. The only thing with bins, I would tell you, if it's bins only, we're probably going to limit it to 36 months. If it's bins plus the truck that's picking up the bins and dumping them, the garbage trucks, if you combine the both of them, we'll do those instead longer term.
Okay. How about school buses?
School buses will probably run afoul of the fact that we tend not to want to do tied up vehicles once they get a large enough gross vehicle weight. So that may be one where we're a little more leery of, but if they're extremely strong, we would consider it. I love it. People have specific deals that they're wanting information on.
You can see the wheels are turning. They're like,
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any other questions.
Okay, good. Really, all I can tell you guys is that we have a very experienced crew. We top out, I think, over 50 employees now. You're going to find that we're extremely highly computerized, extremely organized. I think you'll find that we have a lot of depth of experience here. A number of the people here are people that have worked with me and worked for me for decades. So with that, you get a very experienced crew.
Right. Well, I want to thank everybody for their time today. And just as a reminder, big thanks to all the participants, especially our valued funding source member and gold sponsor for our funding. Great job, John. And we want to invite everyone to meet with 4-Hour Funding in person at the Commercial Financing Expo coming up this September 7th to the 8th in Las Vegas. And if there's no other questions, thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.